Welcome to the Explainer. So today, we're tackling a surprisingly tricky question. What does it actually mean to learn something? You know, we're going to explore exactly how our brains transition from just hoarding random trivia to achieving profound, life-changing wisdom.
Here's our roadmap for this explainer. We'll hit what is true knowledge, characteristics of knowledge, the types of knowledge, information, knowledge, wisdom, and finally, the goal of learning. Let's get into it. Okay, section 1. What is true knowledge?
It's kind of fascinating to think about, right? Does just reading a fact on a page actually make you knowledgeable? I mean, if we just memorize a date for a history test, do we genuinely possess knowledge? Or are we literally just acting like temporary flash drives for raw data? Well, ancient philosophers actually wrestled with this exact distinction.
Plato actually had a brilliant answer for this with his justified true belief framework. He argued that for a statement to count as actual knowledge, it has to hit 3 absolute benchmarks. First off, it's got to be objectively true. Second, you must personally believe it. And third, and this is the real kicker, there has to be rational justification or evidence backing it up. Basically, Plato proved that without that rational justification, a mere belief simply cannot transition into actual knowledge. It's this incredibly active cognitive process, definitely not just passive storage.
And what's absolutely amazing is how this perfectly aligns with ancient perspectives from across the globe. Take the Greek root gnosis. It implies a really deep intellectual familiarity. And then over in Indian philosophy, the concept of gyan represents knowledge that actually liberates the mind. Both of these incredibly rich traditions totally agree. Knowing is about deep, liberating understanding. It's not just hoarding isolated facts.
Moving right along, section 2, characteristics of knowledge. Okay, so knowledge is never static. It's incredibly dynamic and honestly, boundless. Think about it. The idea that the sun revolves around the earth? That was considered absolute knowledge until someone looked through a telescope and proved otherwise. So it obviously changes with empirical evidence. It's also highly structured into disciplines, and this is crucial, it's socially constructed, meaning it's shaped entirely by our culture, context, and power structures, constantly evolving as we discover new things. As Francis Bacon famously said, knowledge is power. Because of all this, knowledge behaves cumulatively. It's like a giant puzzle, you know? You can't just skip to the end. Just like you absolutely must build a foundation in algebra before you even think about tackling calculus, new insights depend entirely on building upon those older, verified foundational truths.
Next up, section 3, the types of knowledge.
So philosophically speaking, we contrast a priori knowledge directly against a posteriori knowledge. Sounds fancy, but a priori is just pure, independent reason that requires zero outside sensory experience. For example, 2 + 2 = 4, right? You don't need to run a field experiment to know that's true. Now contrast that with a posteriori knowledge, which completely relies on real-world sensory experience. Like you only know that water boils at 100 degrees Celsius because you, or well, someone else, actually observed it happening. Now, bringing this into the classroom, we hit another really fascinating divide: explicit versus tacit knowledge. Explicit knowledge is codified. It's the structured stuff, like mathematical formulas found in textbooks that you can easily write down. Tacit knowledge, on the flip side, is deeply personal and totally intuitive. It is so hard to put into words. Think of the sheer brilliance of an artist's unique brushstroke, or that almost magical intuition a veteran teacher uses to just instantly calm down a chaotic classroom. We also separate procedural knowing how from declarative knowing that. Procedural knowledge is very action-oriented. It's knowing exactly how to physically perform a task, like successfully pulling off a complex titration experiment in chemistry class. Declarative knowledge, though, is factual. It's simply knowing that a fact is true, like knowing that New Delhi is the capital of India.
All right, let's get to the core of this. Section 4, information, knowledge, wisdom. The DIKW Pyramid you're looking at reveals the exact cognitive ascent of learning. And notice how just gathering and reading information is literally at the absolute bottom step. We do this all the time. We confuse having access to raw data with having actual holistic wisdom. But as you can see, cognitively, they are miles apart. Just trace the shift across these features. Information is a low cognitive level. It's objective, external raw data that you just read or gather. Knowledge steps it up to a medium level. It takes that external info, internalizes it, and allows you to actually apply it through reflection and practice. But wisdom, wow, that is the highest peak. it shifts entirely to a deeply internalized, holistic transformation. It requires ethical judgment, synthesis, and deep life experience.
To really anchor this in reality, let's walk through a practical example using climate change. So in the information stage, a student simply reads a verified fact. Carbon dioxide levels are at 420 parts per million. That's just data, right? Then, in the knowledge stage, the student actively processes this by analyzing how that trapped heat actually causes global warming. But finally, we hit the wisdom stage. Here, the student achieves the highest cognitive level and makes an ethical choice. They start advocating for sustainability. Maybe they plant trees, and they actually change their daily lifestyle. Now that is true wisdom.
Which brings us to our final stop, Section 5, the goal of learning. So, what does this all mean for today's classrooms? Well, modern educational frameworks, like the NEP 2020, realize that just memorizing facts simply isn't cutting it anymore. I mean, not when we literally have all the world's information right in our pockets, on our phones. The real duty of modern learning is to completely shift away from that rote memorization and focus entirely on the active cultivation of that highest peak we just talked about, transformative wisdom.
And achieving this requires a truly bold, constructivist approach. Instead of a traditional lecturer just droning on at a room full of passive students, teachers act as facilitators. They create these incredibly dynamic spaces where learners socially construct knowledge together. It's all about emphasizing hands-on experimenting, intense debating, and really deep reflecting.
I'm going to leave you with this ancient and super powerful thought from an Indian Sanskrit proverb, Sa vidya ya vimuktaye. It translates to, that which liberates is knowledge. So I want to ask you, if true knowledge is meant to liberate the mind and elevate us all, what ethical actions will you take today to transform the mere information you're holding into true liberating wisdom?